Today, you're gonna learn the new origin of Takeda in Mortal Kombat 1. That's right, if you choose to take the red pill and watch today's video, then you'll learn the truth. The mystery behind Takeda's new era will finally be answered. And if that wasn't cool enough already, you're also going to learn his gear piece as well. That's right, really awesome stuff in today's video, but if there's enough time, we're also going to discuss his color palettes. All that and more in today's video, because another day means more Mortal Kombat 1 news. I'm covering it all the time on this channel, so if you want to stay up to date, then make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss any future videos. And then after watching, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. It helps the channel out a ton. And without any further ado, let's begin. Starting off with Takeda's gear piece, because that's not too much of a spoiler. In fact, I bet many of you watching right now could have easily guessed what Takeda's gear piece would be. Every character in Mortal Kombat 1 gets a single item that they can customize, except for Homelander and some other exceptions where it's several parts of the uniform that can actually change all at once. But for most characters in Mortal Kombat 1, there's only one item that you can freely customize. And just like we knew Peacemaker's gear piece was going to be his helmet for very obvious reasons, many of you watching likely already guessed what Takeda's gear piece would be as well. Because you don't have to be Nostradamus to predict that Takeda's gear piece would be his mask. Yep, that's right. Very similar to almost every other ninja character on the roster of Mortal Kombat 1, including Ermac, Takeda's gear piece is also going to be his mask, which I suppose does make the most sense, and honestly, I'm pretty happy about this news, because even all the way back in Mortal Kombat X, I always thought that Takeda's mask was really cool, but sadly, you only had it in one of his variations, and that was the ninjutsu variation to be exact. So now fast forward to Mortal Kombat 1, I'm happy that the skull mask has returned, and I'm even happier that we can now customize it. I look forward to all the different weird and cool stuff that Takeda's mask can be. And keep in mind, it might be more than just the mask. It could be the mask plus the headband as a combined item, very similar to how Homelander had the cape and the shoulder pads and the belt that all changed. With some characters in Mortal Kombat 1, it's not just a single item, but more like the collective items as a whole. So once again, with Takeda, it could be possible that his entire headgear changes. So not just the mask, but also the headband. Maybe he gets a hoodie, maybe you can cover his eyes with the headband like Kenshi. That would be really cool. Like I often say, the possibilities are endless with this game until the answers are finally revealed to us. But for now, all we know for sure is that Takeda's mask is definitely customizable, but there could be other parts of his head that can change too. And as you all know, I love making these videos interactive, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you feel about the gear piece revelation? Are you happy that Takeda's mask is what's customizable, or were you hoping it was his whips, or maybe his lightsabers, or maybe an item on his chest, or some part of his armor? What were you hoping would be Takeda's customizable gear item? Like mentioned earlier, I'm actually very happy that it's his mask, but that's because I'm a big Mortal Kombat X fan, and even all the way back then, I loved Takeda's skull mask. But alright, it's time for topic number 2, Takeda's origin in Mortal Kombat 1. It's actually different than in previous games. That's right, you've been warned, so if you don't want to know yet what Takeda's origin and new lore is in Mortal Kombat 1, then skip to this timestamp on screen. That's right, I'm gonna leave it up for a bit longer because maybe some of you don't want to be spoiled on his new story, so skip to this time frame if that's the case. Now for me personally, this reveal is not that big of a deal since the info is always revealed by NetherRealm themselves, and they always do it in a really boring way, like a PNG image on Twitter that often looks something like this. So not a very climactic reveal, right? Not very hype, just an image on Twitter, here's the new info and bio for the character. It's just not a very hype way to learn about something, which is why I think it's okay for me to reveal it on this channel, because that way it's a bit more hype, right? Someone's telling you the news, it's a bit more fun, a bit more interactive. So once again, to me, not a very big spoiler, not a huge reveal, because Takeda's gonna become playable in less than a month from now. But alright, without any further ado, let's talk about Takeda's new origin in Mortal Kombat 1. Because unlike in past games, where Takeda is the son of Kenshi, it looks like in this new game, things have changed a bit. And look, we kinda saw this coming all the way back in the Kombat Pack trailer, because Takeda looks old, and I mean older than he was in Mortal Kombat X, not just an adult, but someone who's maybe in his 30s already. For Pete's sake, the man has crow's feet, alright? The man is a bit older, right? The guy's not a kid, and he's not even a young adult anymore. Takeda is definitely like approaching 30 in Mortal Kombat 1, or at least that's how he looks in the Kombat Pack trailer. And then on top of that, according to Mortal Kombat 1, I don't think Kenshi is even married yet, and definitely does not have a kid yet either. So once again, as a result, many of us watching who pay paid attention to the story mode and the Combat Pack trailer already had a good idea that Takeda's origin would be different in Mortal Kombat 1. And it turns out we were right to assume that, because get this, drumroll please, in Mortal Kombat 1, it turns out that Takeda is Kenshi's cousin. That's right, so they're still related and possibly even trained together, so that much is the same in this new game, but outside of that, Kenshi is no longer the father, so things are different between Takeda and Kenshi. Although if I'm being honest, not that different, because anyone who read the prequel comics to Mortal Kombat X would already know that Takeda was actually raised by Scorpion from a very young age, so could you even really call Kenshi his father? I mean, yeah, biologically he is, but Scorpion is the guy that actually raised Takeda and taught him all the fighting techniques. He's the reason why Takeda is the way he is, if you want my personal opinion. Or in other words, you could argue in both games that Kenshi was not really Takeda's father. He did not raise the guy. And honestly, it is still possible in Mortal Kombat 1 that Scorpion, otherwise known as Kuai Liang, did raise and train Takeda to some extent, which would be great news because that would imply that Takeda would still have the ability to teleport and also have the flame machine gun punches, right? Still some minor fire elements here and there. Because keep in mind, in Mortal Kombat 1, it looks like magic is how the Lin Kuei does their abilities. It's no longer biological really, it's a magic technique that you learn, which explains why Bi-Han can use ice manipulation, but Kuai Liang, his biological brother, can use fire manipulation. And then you have Smoke, who's their adopted brother, but can still use smoke magic. I don't think pyromancy and cryomancy are biological anymore in the new timeline, or at least not in these examples. So in other words, I think it's possible that Takeda could use more fire attacks in Mortal Kombat 1, and on top of that, it could be possible that Scorpion still trained him to an extent along with Kenshi, because if they're cousins, maybe they actually grew up together and trained alongside each other. That would be pretty cool. If I'm being honest, that's a change that I would totally be down for. But next up, real quick, have a look at Kenshi's armor, because I find this interesting too. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand this is definitely Special Forces armor, which means it could be designed by Jax, Sonya, or maybe both of them. In other words, Takeda is still very similar to the Combat Kid from Mortal Kombat X. He still has Special Forces armor, he was likely still trained alongside Kenshi and possibly even trained by Scorpion to an extent. And as a result, even though his origin is different in Mortal Kombat 1 and changed a little bit, I would not be surprised if Takeda in this game is still very similar to how he was in Mortal Kombat X, with the only real difference being his telepathy, right? I don't think Takeda in Mortal Kombat 1 will still be able to read minds, but with that being said, I'm not even sure if Kenshi can do that in Mortal Kombat 1. We haven't seen that yet. All we know for now is Kenshi did not have any powers until he touched Sento, and as a result, even if Takeda was his son, he's still not holding Sento, so he would not inherit those powers. Or at least that logic makes sense to me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. For me personally, as long as Takeda's gameplay is really cool and also very true to how he played in Mortal Kombat 1, as long as the core gameplay mechanics and the essence of his character is still there, I don't mind a few changes here and there in the new timeline for Mortal Kombat 1. Like I've said in many previous videos, new era, new me, right? You can change these characters a bit, you know, tweak them some here and there, and I'm not gonna get that upset. However, there is one aspect of Takeda that I am worried might be missing in Mortal Kombat 1 due to his new origin, and that's his humor. You know, his attitude, Takeda's happy-go-lucky demeanor that some people might think did not fit well in Mortal Kombat X, but honestly, I think it helped him stand out a little bit, that despite his creepy mask and being trained by literally Scorpion, the guy had a good sense of humor, and I kinda loved that. Which is why, once again, if anything does change about Takeda in the new game, I hope it's not his sense of humor. I hope that he's still cracking jokes here and there. I hope he still has a happy disposition. I'm okay if they back up a little bit and make him a bit more serious, but I just hope he's not stoic, right? I hope he still talks a lot. I hope he still cracks jokes every now and then. I hope he's a little bit funny at the very least. I don't want that comedic element to be gone, because to me, that's a big part of his character and made him a bit more unique in Mortal Kombat X. But alright, now for topic number 3, let's talk about Takeda's color palettes in Mortal Kombat 1. Because in a previous video, I predicted Homelander's palettes in Mortal Kombat 1, and I was pretty darn close. I think I only was wrong on 2 palettes. Or in other words, I'm pretty accurate when it comes to guessing these color palettes, so let's try it with Takeda. I think it's very likely he's going to have an inverse color palette. Or in other words, the primary and secondary colors are going to flip, which would mean Takeda is going to be mostly yellow with some black accents here and there on his outfit. Then on top of that, having a yellow color palette would be a great reference to how Takeda Takeda was trained by Scorpion, at least in the past game, so it would be a really good reference. I think Takeda having a yellow palette is almost guaranteed, along with a white color palette, because in Mortal Kombat X, everybody loved playing with the white Takeda color palette. It just looked really good for some reason. So the white palette I think is also almost guaranteed, very similar to the yellow color palette, so those three I think we are definitely going to get, but the rest of these I'm kind of guessing. I think red would look really good on Takeda because he's a ninja boy, so I think it's very possible that NetherRealm will give him a mostly red color palette with a different secondary color. And then if it turns out I'm right about Takeda working with the special forces, and that's why his armor looks so sci-fi and so technologically advanced, then I think it's possible that Takeda will also have an army green color palette as well, maybe with some white accents or some light green accents here and there. You get the idea. It's going to be very American military-esque. But then outside of that, I'm no longer certain, because the issue with Mortal Kombat 1 is these color palettes are all over the place. I'm not sure if they let different interns or developers design all the different characters' palettes or what, but there is zero consistency. Sometimes the characters' color palettes are all winners and they all make perfect sense, but then for other characters, they're just disgusting, the palettes are awful, and they don't make any sense whatsoever, so you can't really predict them all the time. But as for me, those are my predictions for Takeda's color palettes in Mortal Kombat 1, and we'll see in the future about a month from now if I was correct in my predictions. But one last time, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What color palettes do you want Takeda to have in Mortal Kombat 1? Another day means more Mortal Kombat 1 news. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below, it helps the channel out a ton, and then finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.